What's up, guys? It's Goose from the Wise Wealth Discord back at you with another Sunday watch list. I did make one earlier. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it didn't post the video, which I'm kind of upset about because it is a live. I don't do a recording, but it's okay. I'll do the same old thing that I always do, give you guys some good feedback on what I'm looking at. I wanted to start off the rip with the economic calendar. This will affect, some of the technical analysis that I'm about to show you. Monday, Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, we have a huge economic calendar, consumer price index. That's basically the reading for inflation. So lots of people are going to be looking at that. You never really know how they're going to react. It says the previous is zero point 0.2, medium forecast zero point 0.6. So they're expecting a raise in it. So if it does come in any lower, it will be maybe raised a little bit, but the market could take that as a bullish thing and start to buy it up because it's coming in lower than they expected. You got core CPI year over year, initial jobless claims Thursday, producer price index, core PPI, PPI year over year, U.S. retail sales. So we got some big economic data coming out this week that'll obviously affect what exactly how it plays out. But I'll show you the technical side of things. I am leaning bullish right now just because of the uptrends that SPY and the QQQs are starting to get into. I'll get into the QQQs next, but I like to start with the SPY, the S&P 500 broad-based index for the U.S. stock market. They found support right around here, the 433 area, and it's starting to make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So I'm just waiting to see if it does continue to inch up and go to try to create the higher high. We still have a gap above right here that usually acts as a magnet. So you like to plot these gaps right here. And if it does go to create a new higher high, I could see it getting to the 456, 457 area. But that's on the bullish side of things. You never really know how the economic data is going to come out. But I'm personally leaning bullish Monday and Tuesday. I bought calls at the end of day Friday, which I'll show you why when I get to the NASDAQ futures. So yeah, it's looking good. It's starting to build a support. It was a failed head and shoulders. You had the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and it couldn't break that baseline right here. So it started pushing up after that, and then it looked like it had its little pullback. So I'm starting to buy calls. I'm starting to inch in there. We'll see what happens. The QQQs, this is the reason I started buying calls. You have the trend line. It was getting denied, denied, once it broke above, there's always a retest. And like I said in the wrong Discord, I was seeing in the Discord during the week is that when the reason it's crucial for bulls to hold this because the break above is previous resistance. Now you'd like to see it to be support holding the price above that when in the past it was denied access to that area in the past months. Comes and retest after a break. After major breakouts, there's typically a retest of the previous resistance that turns it into support. Just something good to know for beginner traders. So that's kind of what I'm pointing out here is that you have to realize this is resistance. Denied, denied, denied. And when it breaks, it's a big major break. There's usually a retest. And this is the retest. Let me get rid of this really quick. So that right there is the retest. That's where it needs to hold to now make it the previous resistance here support. And once you see that, that's a pretty good indicator that it can continue to keep going up. So that's why I started buying calls. I started dabbling in, and then you also the line that I had here, it's showing that it's making higher highs, higher lows. That there is an uptrend forming now from this recent downtrend that was happening. Now there's an uptrend forming. So we'll start to see if it does change course. It would have to break above the 387 area to start being extremely bullish. I currently have 380 calls for that of the week. I posted those in the chat. I think Friday I said I was going to be accumulating them. The NASDAQ is where I really do see the retest happening. As you can see, resistance, resistance, resistance up here. It's all resistance until broken above. And this is the retest you like to see after every major break. It came back and it retested that point that was previous resistance. And since then, it's been up. So I'm starting to get in calls. I don't really know exactly what the economic data is going to bring, but I think the technicals look pretty good to be in calls. It is kind of, chopping like most of the week. Jimmy was saying it was chopping most of the week. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens if it can break out of this. But if it does, extremely bullish thing. Huge gap below. Not really sure what was going on there. I think that was uh, something Jimmy was saying about a new formula or whatever. So I asked him why futes were up so much. Where'd I go? Oh, was there news? Futures up one point. I don't see anything. Futures are flat. You're looking at an old contract. Yeah, something about an old contract. I don't know exactly what that means, but for some reason there's a huge gap on my futures chart. I have no idea what it means. But yeah, I'm leaning bullish just because of that indicator where it does break out and comes and retest it. So that'll be a big thing. Yeah, Apple. Most of these are already charted up because like I said, I've done this video before. It just did not save, which was upsetting. So sorry about the late Sunday watch list. But Apple, 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 man, they have the rising wedge that I was pointing out last Sunday. I was like, if it breaks, that's a pretty bearish thing. We can get in some good shorts. I entered shorts. I posted it on the first break. Let me find it. That's right here. Broke out. And as you can see, those are the first two candles that Apple falling out of rising wedge, possible short, looking at 185 price target. So it was right here when it was breaking out, ended up wedging back up, came out because of news. It had news that China was going to start banning employers from using it. 185 was my price target right about here. It just continued to keep falling because of the news that was coming out. I closed my shorts on like the second candle here, and I could have made a lot more money. I could have made several $1,000s if I would have just held for another 6 hours, but I didn't do that. So now we're starting to look for the next best setup, and this purple box right here is just a range. You want to see if it's gonna, break out on the upside or the downside. So market only goes three ways: up, down, or sideways. And once you start to get that down and you start to plot, where it's heading, then you can start to get a good direction on when trends reverse and when trends are started. There's a decent amount of support right here on this green line, the 174.61. Didn't seem like it wanted to break that, and there is a gap above, so we'll just have to wait and see if Apple does get bullish. It would be considered in the Qs, the tech ETF. So if it does start to go up, that'll help the Qs move up as well. Microsoft, they're creating higher highs, higher lows, especially on the lower time frame, the 15-minute. So as you can see, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So we're just waiting to see if there's a higher low and it keeps inching up. It's holding that ultimate trend line to go to the 4 hour here. This is from December 2022. It's still holding this trend line. So a lot of people were starting to buy right around here. It's just waiting to see if it can create a higher high. That's a pretty big jump that it would have to do. That is all-time highs for the stock. So I think that's probably why it started selling off a little bit from that point. So we'll start to see what happens. Nothing too crazy. Nvidia, another short that I banked on this week. I'll go to the 15-minute to get a little bit more exactness. Had this rising wedge that I was talking about on Sunday. I wouldn't say wedge, more of like a megaphone pattern, but that's for another time, teaching you guys some of the patterns that I'm looking at. Once you see this trend that it's holding, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and it's broken, that's a pretty bearish thing. And as you can see where it is now, I was in the Discord posting right here. NVIDIA breaking out a rising wedge could be possible short. There was one candle that was coming out of it. That was on the 4 hour. So let me go back to this. Let me go to the 4 hour. And it was this candle right here. You could see how small it was in the Discord. I was just getting it because I just alerted everyone that it was it. I entered shorts and I banked. It ended up coming down and it gapped down that next morning after more Apple news, and I sold right around here. I was like, I'm good. I'm up, 75% of my money that I put into it. But that's a pretty big break that it did have there, so you just have to keep an eye on it. Now it's kind of back in that range, that chop range where it's just back and forth, back and forth. So I don't know. It could come back to retest the 440 area. We'll just have to wait and see. There is a little gap right there from the earnings that they previously had. I wonder if they'll maybe try and refill that. I don't know. This gap right here is what I'm looking at. So it could come and try and feel that a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. This breaking out of this wedge was pretty big, so I'm glad I got in on some good shorts there. That's always why you want to plot some of these uptrends, so then you can start to see if it does come down or it does change reversal. Because up, down, or sideways, it's going up, and when you see it start to break down, then that's when you could start to get, some put action. And now there's sideways action. One, two, three, four candles within the same, $10, $15. You don't want to trade any of that. You want to trade the big moves like these where it does break out of that. Tesla, there's something bullish that I like about it. I don't like, it's not the most clean chart in the world. It had a lot of inside days, and for mega caps it's kind of rare. Inside days are when it closes and opens in the same area for like days on end. As you can see, it's all within this tight range. I kind of plotted like a little bit of a bull flag here. I don't know. Something seems to be like coiling up here, and I'm just waiting for it to break, because if it does break in the upside, I mean, that's going to be a huge potential because Tesla just moves. That's kind of how I'm plotting it. That's the 4 hours, so that's a decent amount of time. You can go to the 15, and then, it's kind of the same thing. It's just coiling up. It's got a nice little coil action going on, sideways action. So it's like what we're waiting for is the break below or the break above, and that's when you can enter calls or shorts depending on the price action that it gives you. The ultimate trend, you can go back to the 4 hour. As you can see from this point, it's been higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So now we're in the middle of trying to create that higher high, and we'll just have to wait and see if it does break out of this ultimate trend. I mean, see you later, Tesla. I mean, 520, 700, whatever you want it to be. We'll have to wait and see, but this little coil up action I think looks pretty bullish for Tesla. I think it was a nice little cool off that it needed, because as you can see, it was oversold right around here. So it came down, doing its little coil. So we'll just have to wait and see. Like I say, for every stock, you always just want to wait and see if it breaks out below or above or below. You don't know, and you don't want to try and guess. You want to just play it based off what it gives you. Meta, I have the purple box around it. Lots of consolidation. I got antsy last week. I know I posted in the chat. Meta getting denied 300 entry right now. Looking at puts for 275. Price started a few weeks out. Or strike price. Strike. I can't talk right now. Strike price 275 strike price, and for a few weeks out expiration. So it was getting close to the 300 area, somewhere around here. I saw it get denied, and I was up like 10% at one point, but I ended up losing close to like, I don't know, $50 to $75. Very minimal amount that I lost. I just started realizing that it's in a range, and I got antsy, and you don't want to do that. You want to wait to see if it goes up or down, not sideways. Sideways doesn't do you anything. So I'm just gonna wait and see. I do still kind of lean bearish just because of the ultimate trend. It was holding this trend line for the longest, and the same thing with like Nvidia and Apple and all them. They had these trends, and once they're broken, it's usually a bearish thing. But Meta hasn't really caught on. It's been showing quite a bit of strength in some of these sold off days. So until broken below the 294 level, I don't think it's really shortable yet. I think it could continue to keep going sideways. We just have to wait and see. Google, it's been looking pretty bullish. I kind of like what I see out of Google. Jimmy showed me this one on Discord. It was ranging, and it finally broke out. And as you can see, let me back up the 4 hour. It's in an ultimate trend. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and hopefully higher lows. We'll just have to wait and see if it does do that. All-time highs aren't too far away after that big break. They had that downtrend 2022 broken above. Now it's starting to move in the upwards direction. Lots of bullish things. Amazon, I have them kind of just inching up. They have the same kind of crazy uptrend that's been happening. Resistance, kind of chop, honestly. It just looks kind of sideways, nothing too crazy. Something like that. Just a lot of sideways action, no craziness. Broken below, broken above these green lines. I think that would be a bearish or a bullish case, but until that happens, looks like a pretty decent resistance at 144, 145 area. Like I always say, you just gotta wait and see. just got to be patient, man. Watch these things play out, and when they do, as you can see, I always post them in the Discord. I'll always catch you. I was posting Sunday if this falls out. Then 9/5. What day was that? I don't know. Tuesday. I'm like, yo, Apple's breaking out 185 price target. Nvidia, I was saying all Sunday if it breaks out of this, finally broke out. Breaking out a rising wedge could be possible short. So I'm gonna get you guys right. I just like to show you guys these videos to show you how I'm looking at it, how my analysis is going through, and what I'm looking at for the week ahead, and what price points are buy and sell points on my account. So other people may see something different, but this is just kind of how I'm viewing it. And the repetition is what's going to help you guys learn. I'm not here to. I'm making money. I want you guys to make money, but I want you guys to know how you're making money, not just use the call outs. So that's part of the reason why I go through all those things. UPS, slight rant, sorry about that. But UPS still coiling up. As you can see, it hasn't quite broken out of this trend. It did break below this blue support line that I had drawn here, so I would say the next support is around 157.26. I would say you'd be pretty good to buy calls right around there. As you can see, it's starting to get to the oversold point. RSI oversold and the support coming up. I would say that's a good point to buy calls. But I work for UPS. I am a driver. I could not trade their options, unfortunately. But maybe one day, who knows? Maybe I retire and get to trade UPS. But it's always something to watch out for. I like to watch UPS stock for some reason. DraftKings, they have big catalyst with NFL's starting. The Bears fucking lost this week. That sucks. But hopefully we do better, man. I'm not trying to have another 3-win season. That was tough last year, and we have all the hope in the world right now. But losing the Packers sucked. But yeah, getting back to DraftKings, they're big catalyst. They have the NFL weekend starting, huge betting time for DraftKings, FanDuel, all that fun stuff that people use now. The only thing that's kind of holding me back from calls is they are in an uptrend and they are looking good, but I don't like that it's so overbought right now. I would like to see a little bit of a pullback, and anywhere around 29 to $30 is a massive buy from DraftKings. And if it does break above this resistance at 35, I mean, who knows, bro? Could just keep going, fucking $100 here soon. Never know. It's inching up though. It has good ultimate trend. Jimmy says that he likes it for the long term. I don't know if he's holding common shares or not, but it's always a fun thing to watch. DraftKings got sold off very drastically, and it looks like they're trying to inch their way back up. Be cool to see what's next. Boeing would be cool, I suppose. Netflix, Chop Zone. It's going sideways. You want to wait to see if it breaks above this resistance at 446, 447. That'll be big. Of course, I'll post it in the Discord when it does, but that's how I'm looking at it. Just chop. I don't really want to short or buy calls until broken above or this ultimate green line is broken below. Just have to wait and see. Right now, it does look kind of bullish to me, but that's just me. I'm leaning more bullish right now. Not really too sure what economic data would bring. Shopify looking really good. They found their support right above this gap fill that it wanted to do, but the resistance is now what the support was on this uptrend. So it looked like it got denied, and there is a pretty big gap fill here for that news release that came that they partnered with Amazon. So right now it is trying to fill that gap. It still would be a bullish thing if it could fill the gap and then maintain the $60 price range and go make another higher high. But it was getting overbought, as you can see. That's why we watched the overbought and oversold on the RSI right here. As you can see, oversold. What happened from that? It went right back up, and now we're in the overbought territory and it's starting to sell off with the gap below. So that's something to watch. A possible short, nothing too crazy, but 63 to 60, you see it's overbought. So, and there's a gap below, so that could be something, showing you some confluences on why you should buy it. ARC, um, cool little ETF that they have. They're all about innovation. I know Kathy Woods has been buying a lot of Palantir stock. She has Tesla stock in here. She sold Nvidia at the bottom. What a crazy bitch. I don't know what she was doing, but It's creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and it's coiling up to maybe make that push for a higher high, but we'll just have to wait and see. You don't want to get too impatient with it. Just let this coil play out, and as you can see, it's just kind of inching sideways, nothing crazy until broken above or below. I won't be calling anything out, but I will keep an eye on it because the Wise Wealth Discord is the best Discord you can find, man. You won't find anything like it. 4 hour for Baba, still coiling up, sideways action. I did play it from this trend line down here. I think you could still play coiling up or consolidations. It's just something a little bit more quick that you gotta play. So I was buying calls. I think it was somewhere around here. Sorry, I'm getting tired. But it's starting to get close to that oversold point in the 4 hour, and then you have it getting close to this ultimate trend right here. I wouldn't say ultimate trend, but a small trend right here. This is kind of what I was watching. It's just a tighter version of the ultimate. Because if this breaks down, you could start to see 86, 87, somewhere around there, and that would be an instant buy for me. A long-term holder of Alibaba, but I do like to trade their options every once in a while. You just never know with China, man. Their news is crazy. AMD, man, still looking beautiful. It still looks just like a gem. The cup and handle, you got the cup, then you got the handle. And as always, you gotta wait and see breaks above or breaks below. If it does break above, I would say the measured move is probably around 135 where this previous, resistance was. If it breaks above that, I mean, see ya. I mean, 220 easy. Maybe not that high, but it could definitely go a lot higher if this coil breaks out into the upside. So those are just things that I'm looking at, man. I hope you guys got a little bit of information and just start to get a little bit of the repetition down on how I'm looking at stocks. As you can see, I'm always looking at kind of the same ones too, so that you can start to learn a little bit of a personality of how they move and how they trend. But just continue to draw your lines on the 4 hour and the dailies and stuff, and watch for those buy and sell points. And then when it comes to intraday, you can start to see them break down or break above, and those are the exact call outs I'm giving you in the Discord. And like I preached about before, is like I love giving you guys call outs, but it doesn't teach you much. These are the reasons for the videos on Sunday, so you can start to see how my thought process is on the stocks, how I'm looking at it, and you guys can start to put two and two together and draw your own charts, do this, do that, and that's the goal, man. I want you guys to learn. I want everybody to make some decent money. So, hope everyone had a great weekend. Go Bears! I know we lost